How's it going today, everybody? Today we are going to be working more on our cross. I went ahead and finished up some of the area that we hadn't gone through, but also I started in on these sections just a little bit to turn around and give you something to look at that you hadn't already looked at in the last video. And I started up some of this. Now, that area right there, the thing is, we can't get a chisel in there. Like, my smallest chisel currently is this little guy. It is, I think, an 1/8. But if you notice, that's about the only spot it'll fit. And there's a lot more than that in this area. So what we do, real easy. Take this right here is a chip carving knife. And this right here, you already ran into, is my other knife. The chip carving knife, otherwise known as just a carving knife, but the reason it's called a chip carving is because the shape of the handle and the fact that you use it a lot like this. I'll show you chip carving on some other date. What we do is when you trace these, real simple, turn around and get in there on that line, and you do multiple cuts to get deeper and deeper. Just a little bit of pressure, that way you're not coming off your line. The one thing you got to be careful is this grain is going to want to take you where it wants to go. You don't want that. You want to cut out only what you want. Once you get deep enough, we come in at a slight angle into it and just very, very lightly run some pass cuts. Don't have to use a lot of pressure, you're just cutting the wood, cutting the fibers. And we get down there. Boom. We have some depth there. And you can do that until you're down to the depth you want, just like I did over here. If you notice, just a little bit left there. And we can get some decent depth as long as you pay attention to your angle. Real simple. Very boring to watch unless I was able to hold it like this the entire time for you, which I am not, because that would be one-handed and very annoying. So I'm going to set up the tripod, and we'll do some of the bigger sections so you can actually watch some actual carving. So yeah, let me set up and I'll come right back. Alright, I really didn't fix anything off camera or anything. As you can see, it's still a mess up right here. God bless it. Well, I did not turn around and cut these as deeply as I should. That's why you always kind of want to double check, but I did not, because I was in a hurry to put out a video, and yeah, that's generally how it goes. So, you know the whole measure twice, cut once thing? Yeah. That was my bad. Normally this is not like that. We're going to turn around and do that with the inner ring as well. We're going to make sure this is cut. Now the main thing on this cutting that you want to keep in mind is you can always go back in, take multiple softer cuts in order to be able to keep within the line. And to get to the depth that you want. But like I was saying before that screw up, and before I got a little frustrated and went off camera a minute, we can turn around, and that's peeling up better. I should have noticed, but I did not. Again, my stupidity. That looks so much better, didn't it? Then we can come in from the other side. Come around the table here. Rather than turn my work so you guys can still see. Come back in. Now I'm going in to the same depth that I originally drove in. And as you can notice, I am not using the mallet. I'm just driving in by hand. And this one I'm actually driving in by hand, not using any of my body. And popping that out. And it looks like when I did my initial cutting, I screwed up and I cut across here when I was tracing the lines because, well, for some reason the drawing I had lines going across these sections. Yeah. But it's a little frustrating. But you know what? Mistakes happen, and we're doing this not for anybody else, so it's not like I've lost a great deal. There are 3 ways to fix this. All 3 seem kind of promising, but at the same time, probably won't cover them 100% in this video. What they are, real simple. We can turn around and there we go. Clean that up later. Come down here. Oh, I'll talk to you guys. What we can do is I can cut down further, take this area out and insert a piece. Cut a piece to turn around and fit this area, glue it in and trim it up. Or, since this is our pattern anyways, I could always just take these clean out, call it a day. Since this is just a project for myself and for nobody else, it's not really a gift or anything like that, I'm probably going to leave it for now and just kind of leave it as a learning experience. But anyways, let's move on. Can't fix the mistake right this second anyways. So, go in there. As you see, I went off the line a little bit, but it was towards the inside. See that shake? This shake sucks. That shake really sucks. But, yeah, just take multiple passes. You don't need a lot of strength. Don't try to go wild. You're just drawing over your line again with a really sharp blade. Key thing here, really sharp blade. You want that. Oof. And if you start getting in there just a little too deep, pull your blade out. Start from right where you were. Just kind of put it back in there and nice and place it if you're having a problem holding it. Just take multiple cuts. What that'll do is that'll allow you to have a lot more control on your cut. I screwed up all over on this when I was tracing out those lines. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just jamming and being an idiot. Oh well. As I said, practice piece. Alright, we prepped this side, you watched me do it. I'm going to drive it in by hand. Just kind of work it, and at the same time slowly come down on my angle until I'm flat on the base of where I want to be. That looks roughly good. Do the same on this side. This side, I don't have to drive in, so I'm basically just meeting the bottom of that pocket and coming in. And if you notice, a lot of this wood I haven't had to touch because it's peeling up. That's why we do the cuts. Otherwise, you can peel up a lot more than you want it to. Case in point, that mistake back there. That mistake back there peeled up way more wood than what I actually cut because the fibers are joined together and it wanted to. So, just kind of cleaning up the bottom. It's not coming out. Do what we did before. On the shoulder. And just pop it out. And we do the same here. I'm seeing area that's possibly going to rip out. God, that chill. Okay. Wow, that's an uneven thickness for these lines. Oh well. See how it's kind of peeling up rather than being cut? It's because those fibers are hanging out and holding together. All I'm doing is going in there and curving. Boom. Do the same from this side. Not my strongest side, so what I would normally do is rotate the piece so I could work it from my strongest side and not have that issue. But as I said, I want you to be able to see. Now all I'm doing is cleaning up the bottom a little bit, just a tiny bit deeper, nothing major. What you're seeing when I'm in there and I'm going like this is I'm actually against what I'm cutting a little bit here, a little bit there, and then cutting that middle, and keep doing that. Makes it a lot easier to work your way through the wood rather than trying to just bulldoze all the way through. That makes that quite difficult. But yeah, as you saw, this side came out much smoother, much nicer than this tear out side. Tear outs, I'm not gonna lie, the reason I shut off the camera is I got a little frustrated, and you don't want to try to keep working when you get frustrated. You're gonna do stupid mistakes and you're gonna bust stuff. So yeah, You know what? I got looking at everything, thinking about it while I was cutting, and I got realizing there's a lot of people who will watch this, don't have a chip carving knife, don't have a regular carving knife, they don't have that kind of shape, so they don't have that really deep point. And they're worried about it, and they're going to have to order it and all that shit. Well, here's the lovely thing. X-Acto knife. Nice pointy tip. Do the same thing. You find your line. Nice shallow cuts. Take multiple. And it's like drawing with a pencil. You can steepen it up a little bit to get in there a little finer. Especially on the curves. That's how I began. Didn't have the nice fancy knives and all that, so I just made do with what I had. My first chisel I ever had was a screwdriver that I turned around and sharpened. I mean, it wasn't ideal, but it worked. It's a little regular, standard screwdriver. I mean, you start with what you start with. You get better. I mean, some of the tools, yeah, they make life a little easier, but they're not necessary. Do you think back when they were making the Statue of David or any of the Greek stuff and everything like that, they had the best of tools? Yeah, they had the best tools for the time, but the best tools for the time were shit steel, bronze, copper, things of that nature, big wooden mallets. But they loved what they did. Don't spend a lot of money to get into something you don't even know you like. That's what I'm trying to say. I do the same thing right here with an X-Acto knife as I do with those other knives. Now hell, this X-Acto knife, I didn't even take good care of it. It's kind of dullish. It's a wee bit on the rusty side because, as I said, I don't use it for anything good. Yeah. You can do this with an X-Acto knife. Just be real careful with your cuts. If you have to take multiple, you have to take multiple. The more careful you are with your cuts, the less screw-ups you got. That's that. Box cutter. Again, not use it for anything fancy. Set it for shallow depth. Excuse me. Set it for shallow depth. Come into that line. Just treat it like a Sharpie. Just treat it real careful, like come in there. Find that line. Real careful there. And sometimes if you run off just a little bit, it's fine. Because it's in the scrap anyways. It's not in the actual cut if you do it right. Now, on a little curve like this, you're gonna have to take multiple cuts. Because it gets real difficult. And a bonus on something like a box cutter is you kind of have a depth. So if I were to do a straight line with a box cutter, I set that point right there on the very edge of what I want to cut, press it in there, and if you're decent with a box cutter, you can turn around and have yourself a nice 2-depth cut. Relatively quickly, especially on a straight line. You see that? That's nice and deep. We do the same on this side. Now, I've done this before. I used to use box cutters, pocket knives, you name it. So, kind of an old hat at that crap. Takes a little getting used to cutting a perfectly straight line with a box cutter, but part of it is just learning how to use the geometry of the blade. You don't need fancy tools to do your work. If you see something you really want to do it, use the tools you have. Hell, you know what? Let me take 1 second, and I will be right back, and I will show you something. Alright, this right here is a flathead screwdriver, right? And let's see, where have we cut out? Let's make sure we cut out this area real quick. So I'll show you something. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut right here to turn around and give myself a break off point, because I don't want to do a lot with this, but I want to show you it's possible. And we'll do it right here to show you there's another breakout point. Now, you can do this technique right here of cutting shallower, smaller sections, so that way you're only concentrating on one section at a time. I have not sharpened this chisel, this screwdriver in the least bit. Still got the ribs on it. It's an old Craftsman. Well, not super old. Register on the line. Come in there. And we just work it a little more careful, like if I would have sharpened it, it would have been better. We're going to use the mount just a little bit. Come up underneath that wood. And we've dented it more than come up in it by any means. Should be sharp. Should be sharpened. I did not sharpen it. Coming in the other way, since we've compressed all those fibers. I should have sharpened that, but I did not. As I said, shit happens. Since I didn't sharpen it, I actually have to cut out the wood I compressed, which is annoying. Actually, since that's dull, the only reason I'm doing this is because it's dull. It's a little bit different geometry, but it's basically a glorified X-Acto knife. All I'm doing is cutting out those compressed fibers. And when I get done, if I took just a little bit more time with it, I'll show you. Let's get the tilt of this right on this. See what I mean? Down those lines. It's It's got depth to it. Let me grab the screwdriver again. It's got decent depth to it. Oops. It's got some decent depth. Yeah. So don't let the limitation of tools come in your way of doing something that you really want to do. I didn't screw anything up or anything really. And if I would have sharpened that little screwdriver, that probably would have came out pretty clean. So yeah, as I said, don't let limitation of tools or anything like that get in your way. Do it.